Longhorn fans, Sooner Nation, welcome to episode 133 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Oklahoma and the University of Texas. I'm here with my man, Kevin Miller. I am John Whitson. On an historic night in Norman, Oklahoma, in front of the loudest crowd Holly Rowe from ESPN has ever been at, the offense for the Oklahoma Sooners laid the largest turd that's probably ever been seen on Owen Field in the 100 years they played football there. It was a pathetic, horribly disgusting performance by the offense in the first half by the University of Oklahoma. There's a lot of blame to go around, Kevin, and we will talk about all of it. But we have to start with Jackson Arnold. We convinced ourselves after the bowl game, it's okay. He's going to make plays and he's going to make turnovers, but it's okay. We convinced ourselves after Temple, it's fine. He doesn't have the offensive line. It's not his fault. After Houston, when we could barely move the ball and we only had one offensive drive, we said, he's probably not the problem. Against Tulane, he throws an awful pick six to make it a one-score game and barely escapes with a long run for a touchdown. But Kevin, against the University of Tennessee on September 21st, 2024, it was terrible. The young man went 7 for 16, 54 yards, an awful interception, a quarterback rating of, are you ready for this?
Let's hear it.
1.3.
It's rough.
And 2 fumbles. And probably the worst 2 fumbles at the 2 worst times I've ever seen ever on any football team at any level, at any situation. They were the worst fumbles I've ever seen from a timing standpoint, from the way they happened. The whole thing blew my mind. And then as we're entering halftime, this set me off, okay? And Booger McFarland can set people off, and he set me off, okay? He said, I think the problem's with the offensive line. They're just letting Tennessee's defensive line blow them off the ball. That might be true, but I'm reminded of Remember the Titans. I'm reminded of Coach Herman Boone when he's coaching up Petey in summer ball, right? And they're getting ready. And Petey goes, Coach goes, why'd you fumble my ball? He goes, well, my blockers. He's like, your blockers didn't fumble your ball. You fumbled your ball. Those were the worst fumbles I've ever seen at the worst time. Listen, dude, I have an incredibly long list of stuff to go through. I've never been more frustrated watching an OU offense, ever. And yet, the list is forever long. You, a dispassionate observer, were watching this game, even though it was on at the same time as the Texas game. We knew what was going to happen in the Texas game, and that happened. Arch looked like Arch outside of his 2 interceptions. But for the Oklahoma game against Tennessee, what the hell did we just see last night?
Well, if I'm being honest, man, I wasn't really surprised by much that I saw last night. The way the offensive line has played up until this point, right? The way Jackson Arnold has played up until this point. And I could see if maybe, last week was game 1 and Tennessee was game 2. And you struggled a little bit in game 1. You say, okay, well, maybe they're looking ahead. That's not the case here. We had a 3-game sample size of the offensive line and Jackson Arnold combining together. It just hasn't looked right all year. And I didn't see how that was going to improve against a very talented and experienced Tennessee team.
What did what did I say in the preview? Okay, that in order to win the game, we have to do everything right. The defense has to play not a perfect performance.
Not necessarily perfect, but
because we weren't going to get that from our offense. Nobody expected that. We did not expect Baker Mayfield to roll out in 2017. Okay? But what we needed was a dominant defensive performance. We got that. And we're going to talk a lot about that. We got the dominant defensive performance. What we were going to need is to win the turnover battle. Well, the defense did everything they could to help us win the turnover battle. And all we did was squander it every single time.
Well, and the crazy thing about it is, we talked about this. In order for you guys to win this game, you have to force turnovers. And you forced one. And not only did you force one, you set the offense up inside the 10.
Inside the 5, Kevin.
Inside the 5, yeah. The 5-yard line.
Yard line.
Only for them to turn it back over on the first play? What are you talking about?
Hey,
how does that happen?
Hey, what a terrible play. Like, it was just, I don't even know what happened. Listen, I heard Britt Venables at halftime talk about its timing. It's his timing. His timing's off. Oh, okay, something's off. Because look at the first play of the game. Terrible. Like, the very first snap of the game was terrible. Then you get, and you're right, on the 5-yard, so he lost. And then he goes forward, and there's no reason to fumble the ball there.
Yeah.
It wasn't stripped. It wasn't hit with the helmet. It was just, he just fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's not on the offensive line. The fumble is not on the offensive line.
No,
you got to hold on to the ball.
Not at all. And then the crazy thing about it is when you guys got the strip sack on Nico, you recovered the ball. I'm watching the game with my wife, her mom, and her stepdad. So, all Sooners. And I'm like, this is a game-changing play. It's a game-changing play. You're down 10-3. You got it right there. This is about to be a tie game.
Right there.
Everything has changed in this game. In one play, you give it right back.
It's unbelievable.
If I'm a defensive player for OU, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. To play like that, to hold an offense that's this good, the way they did. And I figured you guys would do that. We talked about this in our preview episode. I knew this defense was good enough to keep Tennessee well below their average. You were going to make Nico struggle, and you were going to get constant pressure on him. You did just that, but only for that offense just to do nothing with the tremendous opportunities they had, not just with the turnovers, also with good field position.
Pull up Nico's stats real quick. Pull up Nico's stats.
All right, I'm going to put them on the screen here. Give me 1 second.
Because when I watched this made me so mad. I watched college football final this morning. And Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler. And I know when you're losing, everything could just rub you the wrong way. I get that. It's fine. But all I could hear about was, oh, my God, the Tennessee offense. Oh, the Tennessee offense. Oh, the Tennessee offense. Nico went 13 for 21 for 194.
Yeah,
we had one bust. We had a bust, and then we had a play at the end and then we had a drive at the end of the halftime where we're absolutely wasted, and they run the ball down our throat.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, Kevin, we're talking, this is just in the first half. 3 and out, 3 and out. 3 plays and a fumble, 3 and out, 3 plays and a fumble. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 drives, 3 plays, and out or a turnover in the first half.
The thing with Nico,
he looked good. He's fine. Like, I like the kid.
Yeah,
this isn't a knock on Nico, but he didn't come in here and blow us out with water.
No, not at all. I think the thing with him is that, he was really poised. He didn't do anything to lose the game, which is hard for a freshman to do.
Kevin, he had 2 fumbles. He had 2 fumbles.
As far as the interceptions go, he didn't throw any interceptions. He was poised. I think that's what they're giving him credit for, and that's fine. Whatever.
I'm not taking the credit away from him. What I'm saying is our defense held this. All we heard about was how awesome this offense was. Okay? And we held it to 25 points 2 of which were a safety, almost all the points coming off of our turnovers.
Correct. The defense played good enough to win the football game. Defense was more than good enough for you to win the football game.
Okay.
345 yards of offense for Tennessee. You got to feel good about that.
I thought our defense was rolling. Specifically, let me call out some guys on a positive note before we get back into that offensive bashing. Let's talk positive. The defensive game plan was stellar. I mean, just stellar. Bowman had the one hiccup where he came forward on run support, left the corner, which is what that defense does, right? Or that offense does. We've talked about this.
Yeah, put you in conflict.
It's inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, inside zone. Get a safety to buy it, hit him over the top. It happened one time. One time.
You can live with that.
Absolutely, dude. Outside of that, Robert Spears-Jennings, holy crap. That dude is good, bro. He is a fantastic safety. Kip Lewis, he was a lot. Stutzman and Bowman didn't necessarily make the stat sheet this game.
No, they did not.
And I don't know that they had to. So this isn't a knock on them necessarily, but they didn't make the stat sheet. But I'll tell you who did. Spears-Jennings, Kip Lewis, Lewis Carter. I mean, these guys were, Kevin, this looked like an SEC defense to me. I was not sitting here thinking, oh, well, we're not SEC ready on the defensive side of the ball. In fact, I think we look really freaking good. And nothing I saw on Saturday has me concerned about our defense, with the exception of the horrific injury to Kendall Dolby.
Yeah, prayers up to him and his family. You never want to see anybody get injured like that. I'm still not sure why the folks at ESPN or ABC decided to replay that. When Holly Rose said
they were replaying. Yeah.
They're bringing out an air cast here. Well, Chris Fowler said before they even showed it, there's an injury here and it doesn't look good. They're bringing out an air cast, or they just put him into an air cast. If you put someone into an air cast, we know what happened. There's a broken bone. This didn't feel like, for him and for his family, the whole country needed to see him get his leg broken on a replay. If it happens live, it's live, right? But we ain't need to see that replay.
I got to tell you, I don't remember. Somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, or not if I'm wrong, or just remind me. I don't remember an injury occurring and the whole team having to rally around the injured player. Like that was hard to watch as an OU fan, both because of Kendall Dolby, the player, but also because of just seeing what it did to his teammates. Like that was hard. That was a hard thing to see. But I thought our defense responded really well. Whether it was Omasigo, who came in relief of Dolby, looked really solid. I'm not sure if Lewis Carter was playing some of that cheetah role. I felt like he was, but maybe not. The defense was really, really solid. And now I don't think solid. I think they were great. You give your offense 2 chances in the first half, and they squander. And I got to ask, Kevin, on the second one, A, what the hell was Jackson Arnold even doing throwing the ball? And B, what the hell kind of play call was that?
I don't know. Venable said after the game it was an RPO. Okay, I get that. But he said we don't do RPOs behind the line of scrimmage. So I don't know what made him throw that ball. The receiver may have just been there because that's how the play is designed. And I don't think the receiver ever expected the ball to be thrown that way. You would never call a play where you would throw a lateral 30 yards down the sideline.
Kevin.
Or, I've never seen that before.
It was not a quick read pass. Okay?
No.
He was under duress. And so and I think if you rewatch this, you'll see this, if he actually had enough on the ball to get it to the receiver, I think it would have been a pick 6. Because, it landed 10 yards in front of the receiver. But if that would have been in the air for 10 more yards, I think that's to the house. There was nothing good about that play. The minute it was thrown, I knew it was a fumble. I just don't understand. Okay, So, Kevin, this gets us to halftime. Oklahoma is just awful. We're down 19-3. Offensively, we look terrible. He finally decides after 3 really bad turnovers. We didn't even talk about the interception. That was just a bad interception. He didn't read it right. I don't. It looked almost like triple coverage when you look back at it. Whatever. It was bad. So we get into, and he goes with Michael Hawkins. Thoughts?
Well, he looked good, right? I think he energized the team. He's a dynamic athlete. I will say a lot of his success did come in garbage time, so it's hard to get a true reading on what it means going forward. But all you can say is he energized the team, he energized the crowd, and he appeared to give you guys a little bit of hope, even in this game and potentially going forward. So you can definitely see the talent with him.
Okay. I think he came in a little shell-shocked.
Understandably so. He's a true freshman.
He wasn't ready to play the game. Okay.
No.
He hadn't gotten the snaps. He never expected to go in against Tennessee. And he came in a little shell-shocked. And so I don't have the drive chart in front of me for the second half, but it wasn't good to start. But I feel like once he kind of got going, you saw a little bit about what people had been talking about. And
Yes.
Here's the most important thing. His legs were great. I love what he did with his legs. He's elusive. It's a nice look. It's a good look. We can build on that. But he was throwing the ball downfield. We haven't seen it all year. And who's the receiver I've been begging for? Look, Nick Anderson, I don't know if the kid's ever going to come back. Like, I don't know what happened. It looked like he got hurt, pulled up lame, and he was out. And that was a blow. And I don't know that it would have mattered, though, with Jackson Arnold. He was making so many dumb decisions. I don't know that that was ever going to matter. But who was the one receiver I was calling for, and I've been calling for all year, especially when we lost Drake Stoops to graduation?
Is that Petaway?
Petaway. Dude, we saw what this kid can do, man. What did I got him down for? I don't know what his yard. 3 for 79 yards. And he didn't really even get in until the second half.
Yeah.
The kid he's a really, really good player. You talked about him coming out of Houston, what kind of receiver he is.
Big time fan. Yeah. Really wanted Texas to get him.
But dude, he was throwing the ball downfield. Now, were they? I don't know. I don't know that Tennessee was. I mean, it was still a ball game, and I understand garbage time because it had but at the same time, they were trying to make plays. Listen, dude, in the second half, we held them to 2 field goals. 2 field goals defensively in the second half. Now, is Heupel smart enough to run the ball and run time off, knowing there is no way OU's coming back against us? Probably.
Yeah, I think that was the case. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. Texas did that against Michigan. It was like almost the exact same game plan. Get the lead, and then we're just going to run this ball out.
You knew at that point the offense wasn't going to be able to. Their offense was going to do enough to bring them back into the game. I think that's what
100%. I get all of that. However, we held them to 6 points, like 140 yards or something the entire second half, including running the ball. I liked what Hawkins could do. So Brent Venables after the game says Hawkins is going to compete for the job. I'm sorry, Kevin. I don't know what competition we're needing here. Like, I don't think it's a you asked me, you texted me in the middle of the game, is this a quarterback controversy? This is the opposite of a controversy. This is what has to be done. And I don't think I am crazy here. We've seen 3.5. Well, no, counting the bowl game, we've seen 4.5 games of Jackson Arnold. Okay? I don't know what else we need to see from this audition to say he's not it right now.
Yeah. I don't think we need to close the book on him completely as a player, even for OU. But right now, it's clear that he's not ready. And having him on the field is hurting you guys more than it's helping.
Absolutely. 100%, Kevin. It's not, I mean, listen, we talked about this, right? And I talked about this following the Houston game. Okay? And I defended those that said we should stick with Jackson Arnold because of offensive line, wide receivers, offensive coordinator, right? There's a lot of factors as to his inability to perform. However, I also defended those that said, hey, maybe we should see what the Hawkins kid looks like, because my argument was it can't get any worse.
Yeah.
And what we saw was it didn't get worse. In fact, it might have got a little better.
Yeah.
Something tells me that if he has the ball on the 5-yard line, we probably get a field goal out of it.
Yeah, at the very
goes 10 to
least.
6.
At the very least, yeah, you're not.
We
turning it
probably
over
go
there.
10 and 6.
Yeah. So what do you think? Let me ask you this. What do you think it was with Arnold? Was it mental? Was he just shell-shocked? Because he never looked comfortable at all.
Well,
At no point in that game.
He hasn't looked comfortable in 3.5 games this year.
Correct. But he's had moments where he looked good, and even running the ball.
Here's the biggest three things for him. Here's the biggest three things for him. Here's his biggest issues. Offensive line notwithstanding. Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that yes, maybe your offensive line totally sucks, but I don't know what to tell you. You're the quarterback at OU. Like, you signed your NIL deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to figure this out. You got to figure it out. Okay? Here's the three things. Decision making. He makes bad decisions. He just makes bad decisions. Or he takes too long to make a decision. Both of which
can happen on our RPO offense.
100%. He either takes too long to make decisions, or he makes bad decisions, or worse, he makes a combination of them both. He takes too long and then makes a bad decision, like he did on the interception. It was a bad decision. It was a bad decision to throw the ball into triple coverage. It was a bad decision to throw that lateral or whatever the hell that was. Those were bad decisions. Okay, and that's not on anybody else. He is the quarterback. Okay, that's number one. Number two, ball security. Ball security. Look, if this was any other position and he had a fumble, you would yank his butt out of the game. If a running back fumbled on the 5-yard line, he would not have been in the next series. I know it's the quarterback, but. And then third, I'll just be honest. This was not in evidence in the bowl game, but through 3.5 games, he simply cannot throw the ball downfield. He can't do it.
Yeah.
Now, is that receivers? Is that offensive line? Is that pass pro? I don't know. Michael Hawkins figured it out. Michael Hawkins had 3 or 4 receptions past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily the deep sideline stuff, which your offense is known for, but just on the crossing stuff.
Just on the crossing stuff.
Yeah.
Petaway was a crossing route. Bauersharp was a crossing route. Deion Burks was across the middle. Like, they were down the field. So did our pass pros suddenly get better? Well, it was later in the game. Maybe Tennessee's defensive line got a little tired. All those things are possible. Yeah. At the same time, they were shots down the field. Hawkins didn't look – once he got in the game, he didn't look intimidated to take those shots. He had to get there. He didn't come out firing like Arch did last week.
I mean, Arch was playing UTSA, though.
Let me ask you a question. Did you notice did you get a vibe that I kind of had an oh crap moment about being in the SEC? I'm not scared about being in the SEC. I don't regret going to the SEC. None of this is the case. But did you have a welcome to the SEC moment when Javonte Barnes got absolutely lit up on the sideline?
Yes. Yeah. And just there were several times where your players got hit, and I was thinking, I haven't seen your players get hit like that before. I'm like, the physicality was completely upgraded last night.
That hit on Javonte Barnes. Oh my God!
And he's a big running back. It's not like he's
and he had the momentum, and he's running
full speed, and just completely got depleted.
Oh my God! And then he had to come back in the game because Taylor Tatum got the crap knocked out of him. And I don't know what's going on with Tatum because I don't know what the status of his injury was, if it was concussion. I saw him get hit, and then they tried to go fast to give him the ball to him again, and he didn't want any of it. I think he literally went down. The physicality was on display. I think we adjusted to it. I don't think it I think defensively, we laid plenty of hits on our own.
Yeah. The defense, y'all were fine. Y'all were completely prepared for what you're going to see.
But just credit to Tennessee, I guess, or maybe credit to the SEC. It's a different level.
It's a different level. We'll credit Tennessee, right? We can't anoint the entire conference because every team is different. but Tennessee was very, very physical. They were really deep on their defensive line.
Yeah,
which is
and
hard
their
because
their linebackers were good too. I thought
they were really fast. Going forward, though, I still have the same questions about the offensive line for OU. Right, the inability to run the football is what's going to hold your offense back this entire season. Even with Michael Hawkins, he gives you hope because his ability to be able to run and make plays off script, running the football.
Kevin, we had 40 yards rushing. 22 of them were by Hawkins.
Yeah, I mean that cannot
40 yards rushing.
Yeah, I mean, how are you feeling going forward? Let me ask you this. I'll tell you what I think.
I feel better that Auburn got beat by Arkansas.
Yeah.
Auburn
is very beatable. Even with their raucous home environment, Auburn very beatable.
We'll break that game down obviously later in the week. I feel better about Auburn right now. It better be Hawkins. I feel so good about our defense. Okay, our defense is going to travel. So it was like what we talked about. We don't really know what we don't know through 3 games, right? Is it competition? Is it this? Is it that? Are we going to get teased? You remember a couple of years ago at Nebraska, our defense played lights out. We're like, oh my God, our defense is so good. And then we just get lit up. And you're like, okay, well, maybe we're not that good. I think we're pretty good. I think Tennessee's really good off.
I think the defense will keep you in almost every game this year.
I don't think nothing I saw from our offense. I'm not sitting here saying if we start Hawkins, we're going to win the game. But they gave us so many opportunities to keep it a ball game. And that's what I talked about. We had to keep it a ball game. We can't get down by 2 scores. We can't do these things. And we were there, Kevin. We were there. And what I mean by there is we were there with a chance. We were given chances and opportunities.
You had the ball on the 5-yard line with a chance to tie the game.
Now, there's a couple of things. Other things in terms of thinking forward. At the end of the year, a Tennessee loss was not a bad loss.
No.
Now, that might be a little pie in the sky. I probably need to worry about Auburn first. I get that, but I'm also a random dude hosting a podcast, okay? Like, if I want to project as a homer, a Tennessee loss is not a bad loss. It's not. It's not going to be a bad loss at the end. Notre Dame, Northern Illinois is going to be a bad loss. Hell, they lost. Northern Illinois, we'll talk about them. They lost to, I don't even know who the hell they lost to. Let's see. I wrote it down. Buffalo. Northern Illinois lost to Buffalo. Welcome to the top 25. That's a bad loss. But even like a USC, we'll talk about that. A loss to Michigan at home is not a bad loss for USC in a 12-team playoff, right? Oklahoma's going to have their chances. What are they going to do with them? Hawkins, I liked his aggressiveness, athleticism, and I thought that the defensive leaders, I noticed Kip Lewis in particular, just really supporting him, really getting him fired up. I think the team is behind Hawkins at this point. And I don't envision a world where he's not the starter against Auburn.
Yeah, man, it's tough, right? Coaches have to make the right decisions here because you don't want to risk a divided locker room.
Do you think that it's a divided locker room when you went 7 for 16 for 54 yards, an interception, had 2 fumbles, and including one on the 5-yard line? Do you think that's a divided locker room?
What I mean by that,
Michael Hawkins?
No, what I mean by that is if you put Jackson Arnold back out there. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
That's what I mean. Not Hawkins. I'm talking about me neither. Neither can I.
I can't imagine that. Can you?
Neither can I. You just never know with coaches. Coaches are the most stubborn people out there.
I don't know what the health of Casey Thompson was. I wouldn't have been surprised to see Casey Thompson, nor upset.
Yeah, I wonder if he is coming off an ACL. Is he fully healthy?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering because with his experience,
I don't know. I wouldn't have been upset to see Casey. We know he can sling it. Maybe his mobility though
is not what it used to be.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's never been a running quarterback, but he is a mobile quarterback. It's a difference, right? So yeah, I'm just wondering if he is fully healthy because I would imagine he knows the system. He's got it down pretty well by now.
Also, just a couple of quick other notes that I had written down here. The offensive script, we talked about this against Tulane. When we did the script, things actually looked pretty good. The opening drive, 7 plays. He went for it on 4th down. At the time, I didn't necessarily question it, but now looking back, this isn't like I'm playing armchair or whatever. I'm just saying, looking back, you think, man, maybe we pinned Tennessee, things could be a little different. But I don't mind the aggressiveness.
Yeah.
You're at home, and your defense saved you anyway. So,
yeah, I think we believe in our defense. Even if we don't get this, we can slow them down. I actually like the aggressive call there. The execution of it, obviously, wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
My thing, man,
3 drives later, we had a tip. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, man, my thing going forward with you guys is my concern is the offensive line still and the lack of the running game, despite Michael Hawkins' clear talent and ability to run the football. And I think he can throw it well too. I'm just concerned that if teams are being able to prepare for him from the jump, they can just key on him if there's no running game that anybody has to worry about.
We've seen 4 games, Kevin. Is there any reason to hope that we're going to have a running game?
No.
Especially if Tatum's hurt.
Yeah.
Especially if Tatum's hurt.
Because he's the most talented guy you have.
Sawchuk could run through holes against Oklahoma State and Baylor and whoever else we played at the back half of the year last year. BYU. He can't run through these holes being created by this offensive line. He just doesn't have the speed or physicality to break through the line.
Yeah, that's the difference between him and some other backs that you've had over the years. Yeah, maybe Taylor. You can see yesterday Taylor Tatum was going to be heavily involved in the running game.
Yeah, and he fit into it. He didn't look out of place in an SEC game.
No,
it sucks he got hurt. I don't know what happened to him. I hope he's. I mean, I don't know what kind of injury I'm hoping for, but I saw him get hurt. I mean, I know exactly when it happened, and yeah, it was weird.
Hopefully it's not a long-term thing.
We'll come back to this at the end of the show. Let's just hit on, before we go to the weekly recap, let's just hit on Texas. They did exactly what we thought they would do, except for the fact that we both picked Louisiana Monroe to cover. Outside of that, Texas did exactly what we thought they would do. Do you agree with the plan that Steve Sarkisian had to purposely tell Arch to purposely throw 2 interceptions to ensure there is no quarterback controversy going forward? I thought it was genius.
No, man, I can see those interceptions coming a mile away. This is a young guy who wants to play well, doing a little too much. And again, despite his immense talent, he is still a redshirt freshman quarterback and is still seeing things on the field for the first time. The first interception, I think it was a timing play. The rush got there. He eluded the rush, did a nice job with that. Stepped up twice. He's locking down on his receiver. Safety drifts back over. Easy interception. Ended up throwing another one. So you see the young thing. You see that there's still growing pains that he's going to have to go through, that all quarterbacks have to go through, even if they're 5-star guys or not. But you also saw how dynamic he is throwing the football, especially the deep ball. He loves to throw it deep, and he'll throw it deep every play if Sark would call it. So he had a couple bombs to some of our receivers, Bond, and of course the freshman Brian Wingo, who continues to impress.
It just makes me so mad. I just can't stand watching Texas highlights right now of your wide receivers just being so wide open. Like Ryan Wingo on that touchdown, you could have made that pass. I mean, he was so wide open, dude. And it just makes me want to puke. We haven't had a wide open receiver all year. I'll tell you the one wide open receiver we had was on the 2-point conversion, which, by the way, I don't even know why we're going for 2 points there. It doesn't do anything for it. We go to 2 points. The guy's wide open. Of course, we get hands to the face and we miss the point after. But anyway, I digress. Back to this. Let me ask you this. What did Arch do anything rushing the ball? Did he look like that guy again, or was he trying to stay in the pocket?
Yeah, he got sacked one time, but did no rushing attempts at all. He was strictly in the pocket yesterday.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's you think that's by design, I'm guessing, or
I'm sure it was. Yeah, Jaden Blue, they really established him. He was out the previous game against UTSA. He had 25 carries yesterday, 126 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had a receiving touchdown
yeah, he looked
as
good.
well. So he was the
What's up?
biggest part of our game plan.
Who the heck is Colin Page? Where'd this kid come from?
Man, Colin Page is a walk-on running back who is. You heard about him in the spring game. They apparently liked him a lot. I never get too excited when it comes to walk-ons, but with the injuries that have happened, and we were without Trey Wisner, so the lack of depth that we have at running back, losing C.J. Baxter and of course the Christian Clark, the freshman, everybody's been elevated. Trey Wisner missed yesterday's game with an injury. So we were really thin. So we basically had Jaden Blue, the freshman, Jared Gibson, who looks good, Ryan Niblett, who is a former
Converted
receiver.
receiver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
converted receiver. And then Colin Page. So we were able to give him 10 carries for 60 yards. So he looked good. So I'm
Where's the
glad
kid?
we have him.
Where's he
He's from
from? Is he
Austin.
in Texas? Oh, he's a
Yeah, he
Texas
is.
kid. Okay.
Yeah, walk
That
on
makes
local
sense.
kid. So we're thankful to have him because we can take our guys out and let him get carries and he won't screw it up, basically. So he did a lot better than that.
Anthony Hill Jr. with an interception, Javion Cole with an interception. I mean, it's just hard. Louisiana Monroe sucks. And
They do, man.
I thought your defense did what they were supposed to do. They flew to the ball, all the stuff. All right, let's go ahead and jump. I just want to know you open against Mississippi State. Mississippi State got their ass beat by Florida, who we know is not a good team. Is Quinn back for Mississippi State, or do they go
Personally,
another week? Do they go another week with? I'm sorry, is Quinn back? Did I say that? Is Quinn back, or do they go another week with Arch?
Personally, if Quinn is healthy, I want him out there. I need him to get out and get into a rhythm before we go to the cotton. That's my hope. That's my hope. I think for us to be the team that we ultimately, I think we can be, we need Quinn Ewers to be our quarterback. And if he's healthy, he needs to be out there. It's pretty simple for me.
I think you beat Mississippi State either way.
So do I. So do I. I mean, and also their quarterback, Blake Shapen, he got injured. He's out for the season. They announced it. Yeah.
How far into the game did he get injured?
I'm not sure exactly when he got injured in the game. I wasn't watching, but Mississippi State did announce that he's going to be out for the season with an injury.
Well, he wasn't having a good year anyway, so I don't know if that's what that means.
They were putting up points. They can't run the ball. I mean, they have one of the worst rushing attacks in the country. So
not worse than Oklahoma's. There's no way it's worse. There's no way it's worse than Oklahoma's.
It might not be, especially seeing the fact that the players that you guys have. So it's a little bit more perplexing with you guys. But real quick, let me talk about this Texas defense, right? And I know they haven't played. They haven't
pour salt
played.
In the wounds, Kevin. Just pour salt in the wounds. Just tell me all about them.
I'm going to for sure. They haven't played any dynamic offenses yet. I know that.
Just the defending national champions. But go ahead.
22 points allowed in 4 games is pretty impressive. I don't care who you're playing. Right?
Agreed.
These are still scholarship players that they're going up against. And we talked about this.
Michigan put that up on USC yesterday. They put up 28.
They
and I don't think they threw 4 passes. So yes, I agree. I agree with you that Texas's defense looks good.
And we talked about this, especially the secondary. And I told you how the guys that left, it was going to be a bit of addition by subtraction. We are supremely upgraded in talent, and it's showing so far. Teams have not been able to throw the ball effectively against the secondary yet. So obviously there's better competition coming ahead. We start SEC play. You guys got to start SEC play yesterday. We'll start next week, but I just feel really good about this team so far.
Okay. This is an OU Texas podcast. We play you in 3 weeks, right? Because there's a bye week.
Yeah, 3 weeks from yesterday.
3 weeks from yesterday. Right. Yeah, 3 weeks from yesterday. Anything about Hawkins or our defense? Because I think those are the only bright spots that concern Texas fan. because I know that our running game doesn't, and I know our receivers don't. But did our defense do enough against Tennessee to make you go,
Well, I watch OU closely, right? Part of the podcast, but your defense has had my attention all season. So yes, the problem with the defense is there's only so much they can do, right? Like,
yeah,
if you hold Texas to just say 27 points in a really good defensive performance, can you score that many points? That's the question I have for OU right now. But the defense is great. It's the best OU defense I've seen since, Mike Stoops was there, probably.
Well, Mike Stoops the first time.
Initial, yeah. I'm talking 2000s, mid 2000s level of defense. You're fast, you're aggressive, you're usually in the right spots, very few busts. Even that one on that long touchdown, Walker got beat, but he was, it's not like it was a bust where he was 20 yards open down the field.
No,
right?
no, it was just a really good play design.
Correct.
It was a good play design. They run the ball enough. That's what that offense is supposed to do. Billy bites. Probably didn't have to bite. We were stopping the run with a normal box, all those things, but it's going to happen. And it's definitely going to happen against Texas, and it's definitely going to happen with Sark calling plays. Because in the reverse of that question is, has Oklahoma seen anything from Texas? Just about every facet of the game. Like, what I really hoped going into the game was, well, surely the receivers can't be as good. They might not be Xavier Worthy good, but they're pretty darn good. They're really good. Your running backs, it's like, oh, well, Cedric Griffin's hurt. So, Cedric Baxter, CJ Baxter.
Shout out to Cedric Griffin, though, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great. Glad he's on my mind. Yeah, so CJ Baxter's hurt. Oh, great. Well, maybe the running game won't be good. I don't know. Jay Blue looks pretty freaking good. Oh, Quinn got hurt. All we brought in is Arch Manning, who, is slinging the ball around like he knows exactly what he's doing. Not a great stat line you're seeing there on your screen, but still, the game was never in doubt, and he looked just fine.
And real quick, as far as that Red River
shootout my point is, every facet of your team looks like the number one team in the country. I'm
happy with it. My thing is, going into this game, when we play each other, what I cannot see, and we saw this last year, we cannot let you guys come out and be the more energetic, fired up team. We can't take a quarter and a half to get into the football game. You guys were so fired up last year, and it took us a while to adjust to your level of intensity. That cannot happen. I don't care if we have Georgia the next week. To me, this game is more important than Georgia. I don't want to say I don't care about Georgia, because clearly that wouldn't be accurate. But this game, to me, is the most important game that we're going to play all season. It's the most important game to you guys every year. Yes, that cannot happen this year. It just cannot.
It's possible that this defense can put Oklahoma in positions to win games. Okay? We have to know, the questions that have to be answered is, can Michael Hawkins see that through to completion? Or if not, it's going to be a long-ass season in the SEC. Tennessee might be the best team we play, but I don't think they are, because we have a team, Texas. We have a team called Ole Miss. We have a team called Alabama. We have a team called Missouri, who, by the way, we'll talk about. And we have a team at LSU and Tiger Stadium. So they might be the best team we play, but I think that's wishful thinking, because I think
think Texas is a better football team than Tennessee.
I think they are.
That's my opinion.
I think they are.
I'm biased, but I think Texas is a better football team than Tennessee. And I think Tennessee is really good.
I think Nico in year 3. I'm really hoping. I'm hoping they somehow were not on that schedule.
You might be off them. We'll probably get Nico in year 3.
I'd rather play Tennessee next year when he's, whatever. Okay. Kevin, let's give a shout out to our sponsor real quick, and then we got to break down the week that was. Brad O'Haver, public insurance adjusting firm. Here's the things I said about Jackson Arnold, his decision making. That was number one on the top of the list. Either it takes too long to make a decision or he makes the wrong decision. And either way, it's bad. Let me tell you how you can avoid the number one biggest mistake that Jackson Arnold makes. Make the decision to call Brad O'Haver at 405-735-5510 if you've had an insurance claim to your home or to your business. If you have to file a property insurance claim, don't be Jackson Arnold and fumble the ball. Call Brad O'Haver, 405-735-5510. Let the Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman of public adjusters, i.e. Alice Young and Jessica Isom, step up to the plate and get you more money for your insurance claim. Do not wait too long to make a decision. However, if you have, it's never too late. If it's been 6 months, if it's been a year, you still want to give Brad O'Haver a call. You only pay what we increase the claim by. 405-735-5510. Kevin, week 3. Let's start with our picks. The day
Week 4
started out pretty good for me. Week 4. The day started out pretty good for me because Michigan beat USC, and they beat them running the ball right up their throats. And USC had no answer for them in the fourth quarter. And I love it. I love every second of it. You know it's coming, and they couldn't do anything about it. And I got the win. You got the loss.
Yeah, this was a really good football game. A fun football game to watch. Michigan came out and like, listen, this is who we are. This is what we do. We're going to put Alex Orji in as our starting quarterback, which if you watch any of Michigan football, you knew that meant they're not throwing the ball at all if he's coming in the game because he cannot do it. We've seen him try it. Not happening. So we knew they're just going to run it and run it and run it. And that's exactly what they did.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, this is who you are. Do it.
I love when a team has an identity and says, this is what we're good at. Don't screw it up. I think Sherrod Moore is doing a hell of a job at Michigan. He wasn't going to beat Texas this year, not with that roster. No. But to beat a USC team, potentially go maybe 10-2, almost even 9-3. I think he's putting himself in really, really good position. And Khalil Mullins, listen, dude, 17 carries, 159 yards, and 2 touchdowns, not to mention a 63-yard run on the last drive of the game and a 4th-and-1 score. Dude, that dude's a great running back.
Yeah, and we talked about this. If you watch Michigan's first game this season, and, you know, of course, Donovan Edwards is a star. He's on the cover of EA Sports College Football. It was very obvious going into the Texas game that Mullins should have been their guy. They still put Donovan Edwards out there a lot. The splitting time, Mullins is that guy at running back. He is 6'2", he's 230 pounds, and he's got a little bit of wiggle as well. And he's got good speed. They did a really good job. I was surprised, though, that USC even came back in this game when they were down 14-3 because they weren't moving the ball. This was more on their offense, too, in the first half. It wasn't just the defense. They could not move the ball at all. They finally got into a rhythm in the second half. And I give them credit for coming back and actually taking the lead. But again, credit to Michigan for sticking with their plan and continuing to run the football, especially when they finally broke them down a little bit, especially on that last drive. You mentioned the long Mullins run to set them up. And for them just to keep running it in the red zone and get that last touchdown with just a few seconds left. Hey, good for them. I still think USC is a pretty decent team, right?
Yeah, it's hard to go to the big house and win, I think.
Yeah, and most teams aren't going to be able to run the ball on you like that, right? Because it's easy to say, oh, same old USC, and they don't have the size up front on the defensive line to go up against a Michigan consistently. But most teams aren't going to be able to handle Michigan running the football either. That just makes me feel better about Texas from watching that game yesterday. But again, the rushing yards for Michigan, I don't know if you saw how many they ran for, 290 yards.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Mullins had 159 of them.
Yeah.
He looked great. Kevin, my day was made even better when Utah hung on to beat Oklahoma State. This was setting up to be a classic. We talk about it all the time. This was setting up to be a classic. Oklahoma State comes from behind. Utah does stupid stuff, and somehow Oklahoma State pulls it off. And I just had a sick feeling almost that entire fourth quarter. Luckily, Utah hung on. Oklahoma State had to pull Alan Bowman because he looked so bad. Then they had to put him back in. But I'll tell you what, Ollie Gordon continues to disappoint. 11 carries for 42 yards, 3.8 yards a carry. Is it his offensive line, or is he not the same dude? Did he read his press clippings and get fat over the summer?
And he looks fine physically. But I don't know. He can't get going.
You don't want to call. You don't want to call another man fat. You don't want to call another man.
No,
fat?
just he looks like he did last year. I wish I knew. I'm sure my Gundy wishes he knew. He on the field. I don't know what's going on, but it has not gotten. And they have a lot of experience coming back on the offensive line. So no, I don't understand why he hasn't gotten going. It's 4 games, and so far it's looking like a bust for him. This guy won the Doak Walker Award last year.
Yeah, he should have gone pro.
He looks like an average guy. He's not eligible. He's a second-year player.
Micah Bernard for Utah, conversely, had 25 carries for 182 yards. And here's the deal: if Utah can run the ball like that in the Big 12, I think that they're really going to be really good.
I picked Oklahoma State to win the conference this year, but man, Utah looked really good. I was really impressed with their physicality. Remember, they didn't have Cam Rising.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. The Cam Rising story has gotten into the absurd, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's just odd.
He's had so many injuries. This is year 7. I mean.
Staying in the Big 12, and then we'll bounce over back to the SEC. Another game that both you and I lost, and I guarantee did not see this coming. BYU taking Kansas State to the woodshed, 38-9. It included 2 touchdowns, 39 seconds apart for BYU in the first half following turnovers. I feel you on the turnovers. And then in the second half, the kid had a 90-yard touchdown punt after almost dropping it. First, when he tried to catch it, and second, when he crossed the goal line, which is still the stupidest play in football. Somehow he got lucky and it was still counted as a touchdown. It didn't matter, though. BYU 38-9 over Kansas State. I'm not saying I was surprised BYU won, but I'm surprised they won by 29 points. That's crazy.
Yeah, the game was it wasn't close at all. It never was. Really surprising. So in K-State, usually they don't get pushed around for the most part. They got pushed around out there.
Here's the deal.
On both lines.
This is BYU's second season in the Big 12, right?
Yes.
They typically have older players because of the missions that the LDS members go on, okay? But historically, BYU is a good football program.
Yes.
Okay? So they now get to recruit into a Power 5 conference, which they've never had that opportunity. They still have the base, obviously, of recruiting for the LDS folks, which ends up being a pretty good base, especially in the California, Arizona, Utah, Hawaii, the Samoan areas. Like they're very, and now if they can layer on some better teams, some better recruits just from being in a Power 5 or Power 4 or whatever, then because they're older, they're also smarter, not because they're inherently smarter, but they have more experience than the other teams do because they're all, we've seen it like with Cam Rising, a lot of these 24, 25-year-old quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Rising, Bo Nix, a lot of these older quarterbacks. Well, that's their whole roster in a lot of ways. They've got grown men that are
guys
smart.
With wives and kids. Yeah. And they're desperate too, right?
Right. And so now you've got them playing in their second year of a conference where they're starting to see teams again. And, first year, it's kind of like OU in Texas to an extent, although I think OU is going to get hit with a lot more just because of the strength of the schedule. But when you don't know teams, it affects you. Iowa State could go against OU. Oklahoma State could go against Texas and be very competitive because they knew what you were going to run.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just think BYU, dude, listen, if it comes down to BYU and Utah, oh man, the Holy War, I'd be here for it, dude.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Let's check it out. Yes, for sure. And this conference, man, we talked about it. It's wide open, man, and it's gonna be fun.
Also in our picks, Tennessee was a winner for you, loser for me. Texas was losers for both of us. You fall to 9 and 12. I
Sheesh,
fall
man.
under I fall under 500 for the first time all year at 10 and 11. So we got to bounce back, Kevin. Going back to the SEC real quick, games of note. Missouri Vanderbilt. This was a weird game. I did not watch this game. Okay. But I looked at the box score and I said, well, surely something had to happen for Vanderbilt to be in this game. I have no idea what that was. Maybe you can tell me.
No.
But Missouri outgained them passing and rushing and had 0 turnovers. How was Vanderbilt even in this game?
I'm not sure. I know they hit a couple of big plays down the field, but I don't know. They've been competitive in pretty much every game this year, Vanderbilt.
Well, and if they had a kicker.
Seriously.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I
mean
did
they
the kid
lost.
Because he missed it in overtime, right? Or he missed it in regulation to win it, right?
Yeah, correct.
And then misses it to tie it. It's
So Vanderbilt could have won this game, and then they lost it. They screwed it up against Georgia State. They're pretty close to being 4-0.
We don't have to play Vanderbilt, so maybe they'll rise up against Texas. Ohio State hold serve, Ole Miss hold serve. Miami handles South Florida. There was a little doubt there. Penn State, they're fine. LSU rolls at UCLA. UCLA's not good. Notre Dame's good. Louisville handled stuff. Iowa State. Clemson rolled NC State, which gave me a little hope going in the Tennessee game. Obviously, that didn't work out. The aforementioned Northern Illinois Wolves. God, I messed up this from last time. Whatever they are. Lost to Buffalo in overtime. Huskies, thank you. A&M Bowling Green. A&M holds on to win 26-20. Y'all might beat them by 100. Florida beats Mississippi State. Texas will not be tested in their first SEC game. Kentucky wins. Arkansas beats Auburn. Good sign for OU. Hopefully that gives us hopefully they're not on revenge mode, but maybe we both are. South Carolina holds on. The game of the day, though, outside of our games, which probably even including our games, was your boy Prime pulling it off again. What the hell happened there, dude?
Man, down 24-10 against Baylor at home. Yeah, they come back. I mean, Shedeur Sanders hits a Hail Mary.
Whoa. Last play Talk about the play before. Talk about the play before the last play.
Which one was that?
Did you not see it?
Just remind me what it was.
So there's like 10 seconds to go. And I want to say it's like second down. They're still they're kind of in Hail Mary range. And he gets flushed again. Shedeur gets flushed, throws a dime to a guy on the 5-yard line. And he drops it. The guy drops it. And you're like, oh, well, that was their chance to win.
That was it.
And then they call a Hail Mary to go.
Yeah. And then
I got to tell you what.
You get to overtime. They get the touchdown to take the lead. So Baylor gets the football. They get it first down. They have a 1st and goal at the 3. Hand it off inside zone play to the running back. It looks like he's about to walk up to the end zone. And, of course, Travis Hunter comes. Helmet on the football. Goes out of the back of the end zone to end the game. He continues to show us why he's the best player in the country.
I didn't realize that was Travis Hunter. That's amazing.
Was Travis Hunter.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
It makes perfect sense now that you hear it, right?
Well, of course. Who else is going to make that play? I'm surprised it wasn't Travis Hunter that caught the that's more surprised than anything else. And that catch was a hell of a catch, too.
It was a great catch. It wasn't he had to die for it.
Yeah, and he had to come back for it and die for it.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot. The one before that should have been caught. Probably would have been a touchdown. But listen, I love Durer for all the reasons that everybody else doesn't love him. That arm talent's pretty undeniable, though.
Yeah.
Like just throwing the ball he's really pretty good at it.
Right. That's why NFL scouts are all over him. He'll have questions to answer about the leadership stuff. But as far as his talent goes, that's why he's a top 5 pick when it comes to that talent. And him and Travis Hunter are just worth the price of admission, man. They're must-watch guys. And Travis Hunter, I'll take Shedeur on the Cowboys tomorrow. And same with Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, can you imagine the Deion Sanders? Jerry Jones would absolutely love that. You know what he's about. He's about getting eyes on his team. And what better way to do
Um,
that than having Shadur Sanders, the son of one of your favorite players, Dion, and to have Travis Hunter, who should never come off the football field, even in the NFL.
the problem is if he has the choice to draft Shadur Sanders or Travis Hunter, he'll go with Shadur. And that would be his mistake.
I don't know if that's a mistake.
You take Travis. You take. I don't care. You take Travis Hunter. That guy's amazing, Kevin. Look at the number one receivers in the league that you need. Like, he is a legit number one receiver.
He is,
and he can also play corner.
He's a starting corner. Yes, he is exactly what you hope when you see these rankings come out.
Real quick.
You have a number one player. Go ahead.
You want him to take over for Dak in 2 years? Shadur?
Oh my God! Yeah, I'll tell you. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know.
Travis Hunter is what you hope. When you see a player, you see these rankings, and you see a guy who's ranked number one in the country, which he was. You hope he turns out to be like him. The number one ranking was completely justified for Travis Hunter. It's a big deal to be ranked as a number one prospect in the country, and it doesn't always work out. But sometimes,
unless we forget, Prime got him to sign at Jacksonville State.
Jackson State, yeah, not even Jackson State, yeah, correct. It's the most bizarre thing ever. It was a foregone conclusion that kid was going to Florida State.
They could use him, although they beat Cal, but they could use him.
14-9. They still won. You'll take it. Your first one of the year.
I guess you could be a Florida State fan right now. I don't know if I'd feel a lot better or a lot worse. I don't know, dude. Oklahoma. I don't know where they go from here. I think they beat Auburn. I really do. I think they've got the defense to beat Auburn. I don't know that Auburn has an offense like Tennessee. Well, they don't have an offense like Tennessee. So we'll break that game down. But if it's not Michael Hawkins or Casey Thompson, like if for whatever reason they decide they need a little more experience going into a hostile environment, I don't know that I'm off of that. But if it's Gavin Sawchuk or barring it, unless there's injury, if I see Gavin Sawchuk or Jackson Arnold, I might be done. Yeah. I might call it this year.
Really?
Yeah. I might just hang it up. I'll let you do the show by yourself. I don't know if I can handle it. It's bad.
Well,
and we convince ourselves.
I'm a Texas fan.
This is a problem.
I can tell you.
Go ahead.
Well, you're a prideful fan base, right? And prideful fan bases talk themselves into things. We talked ourselves into thinking Gerard Hurd was the answer in 2015.
Yes. That's exactly right.
We talked ourselves.
That's exactly right.
You guys are reminding me. Go ahead.
No, you're right. We convinced ourselves that what we saw against Arizona was an aberration.
Now, here's the thing. I don't hold that against you guys.
It didn't happen.
I don't hold that against you guys because you can see the talent, and that was his literally first start. Literally his first start. I don't hold that against you guys. What I hold against you guys a little bit is the hope for winning this game based on the offense. We knew the defense was going to play well. I just didn't see how you can score against that defense based on what we have seen from the offensive line and Arnold and the receivers so far this season.
I don't want to be obstinate enough to completely disagree with you that Tennessee probably wins the game. Okay? That's not what I'm trying to do. You're probably right. However, Kevin, 10-10 with the way our defense was playing is a hell of a lot better than 14-3. Like it just
you're
is.
You're right about that. You're right about that. And that's what's so
whatever the number was. You see, or 13, whatever the number was. It is so much better because you're at the 5-yard line. So you're saying to yourself, well, you get a touchdown here, and your defense up to this point has made 3-0s happen. The crowd, who was electric last night, goes absolutely crazy on the next drive, and he's still a freshman. And he's now he thinks he might fumble it. Their left tackle had gotten hurt. So now you're rushing R. Mason Thomas against their left tackle. Again, I'm not saying we win the game, but it's a momentum. It's a momentum change. It's a switch. Different things are happening. The whole tenor of the game changes. But then your quarterback on a stupid ass play fumbles the ball when he doesn't get hit in the crowd, and it's over. And the game is over. And you're right. At that point, it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
But for a moment, it could have at least been a ball game. And I think you'll agree with me on that. That there was a chance it could have been a ball game.
Agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, if it's 10-10, it's 10-10. They start questioning things. And I think, and I give Nico credit for staying composed.
Did he remind you, did his facial expressions and demeanor remind you of Jalen Hurts?
No, that's actually a good comparison. I didn't think about that yesterday, but
I mean, he's taller than.
Yeah, he's 6. They list him at 6'6".
I don't think 6'6", yeah, but he's taller. Yeah, he's taller than Jalen Hurts.
4.5.
But the way he carried himself and his persona and his it just seemed very Jalen Hurts, very confident.
Very calm.
Hey, I got it, guys. It's fine. Don't stress out. We're fine. That's kind of Jalen Hurts' mode. And so I like that in a young Tennessee has to like that in a young quarterback. They just have to.
Yeah, and again, didn't do too much on the touchdown. We will say that throw was, it was right on the money. On the long touchdown that they had. Really good throw in stride. Let your guy outrun. It was
a great throw.
The Kanai Walkers. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great throw. You kidding me? It was a great throw. All right. NFL today, Kevin, just real quick. Eagles Saints. That could be a great game here in about 23 minutes. My Buccaneers take on the Broncos. I think that could be another good game for Baker. Your Dallas Cowboys go up against the Ravens in the Sunday afternoon game of the week. I think it's another week of.
Not feeling good about that, by the way.
That's another week of Tom Brady, right?
If it's America's game of the week, I believe it is.
Lions and Cardinals.
That should be fun too.
And 49ers Rams. So far. Okay. I am not the biggest NFL guy. I'm not the biggest NFL guy. I watch NFL just like everybody does, but I can give or take. But
we like the NFL. We love college football.
That's correct. When you have a 325 window that has 49ers, Rams, Lions, Cardinals, and Ravens, Cowboys, it's a good day to have Sunday ticket.
Yeah.
That's a good day to have. That's a good.
Just put it on Red Zone.
I don't have Red Zone.
You got to add the sports package to your YouTube TV.
Well, maybe I do have Red Zone then hiding somewhere. But I have Sunday ticket, so it's not a big deal. Just multi-view the Sunday ticket.
That's awesome. That's good stuff.
Do you have Sunday ticket?
I don't. I just do Red Zone. I just literally put it on there, and it's on there all day.
I have Sunday ticket because my brother. I hope that YouTube doesn't like what I'm about to say. I share my password with my brother for YouTube TV. And he wants NFL Sunday ticket. So he pays me for NFL Sunday ticket because he's in Tampa, but wants to watch the Saints.
Gotcha.
Does this make sense? Because they'll overlap all the time, and he won't get to see very many Saints games. So I get the benefit of his Sunday ticket, which again, normally not a big deal. But you see a slate like today, especially when it might rain outside, like a nice little
pouring right now. So
is it pouring on your side of town?
It is.
You're a little further. You're a little further west than me. You're a little further west than me.
Maybe it's heading your way.
Yeah. Dude, when it's raining, settle in, watch some football. Oh my gosh, try to recover from the weekend. I love it.
Yeah.
Kevin, are you excited about SEC play next week?
I am. I'm really excited for Texas to make their SEC debut.
Good, Kevin. That was a rhetorical question. Kevin. Because I'm not excited that Texas is going to probably beat Mississippi by 50. That doesn't excite me. And I'll tell you what else doesn't excite me is an inept offense as bad as ours going on the road to Auburn. If we lose to Auburn, I might be done. I said I might be done if I see Jackson Arnold. I might be done if we lose to Auburn. It could be the end of my fandom for being a Sooner.
That's a bit premature there.
Listen, dude, I think I might go BYU. I think it might go. They don't have the same expectations. And when they win, it just must feel great. And when they lose, you know, they just go on their missions and everybody feels happy about it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We're good. Yeah.
And they got bear claws. I mean, I talked about this. Cougar tails. I talked about this. Win or lose. No, tails.
Is that the donut thing?
That's the donut thing. It's a big maple long john. Win or lose, they have cougar tails. Oklahoma doesn't have cougar tails. We got Coke Zero. Everybody's got Coke Zero now. So I'm saying basically OU has nothing that's going to keep me tied to the University of Oklahoma if we lose to Auburn. It might be done. We might have to start a whole new podcast. I don't know. Army, Navy, greatest rivalry in the history of college football. Who would you take? Would you take Army or Navy?
Oh, man. How do I make that choice?
I would take Navy. Navy doesn't get enough credit for winning World War II in the Pacific and the Atlantic, to be specific. They guarded those shipping lanes and broke the backs of the U.S. commanders in World War II. I'm taking Navy all day. You can have Army.
Well, hey,
Army sucks. Go Navy.
Shout out to David Robinson.
I just took a shot at Army. I don't care.
That's fine. Shout out to all the
military. Shout out to
branches. Who? David Robinson, Naval Academy grad.
That's another reason I took Navy. 100%. I can get behind Navy being my team. Navy and BYU might be my new team. If we lose to Auburn, you might see a big BYU and a big Go Navy right on the deal.
There you go. Well, let's just hope it doesn't come to that.
It might, Kevin. This might be where we're at. This
Not
might be the end of the road.
Lost. Not all hope is lost.
Did you see our offense last night?
Pretty bleak offensively.
Pretty bleak. Kevin, great show. I appreciate you letting me talk through a lot of this. I'm glad Arch had a hell of a game. I'm sure you feel great about Texas covering, even though you didn't pick it. Enjoy the Cowboys, Ravens. Hopefully their defense figures out how to stop that guy.
We'll see.
To my brother, good luck against the Eagles coming up at noon. Kevin, have a great afternoon. Boomer!
Hook 'em.